It's simple. We kill the Batman.
Simple, he says. Well, let's find out. Today we're asking, and possibly even answering, can the average person kill the Batman? And as always with the way we do these things, I will be the representative of the average person. I have all my notes here in my Wild Ideas journal, and for the first time of doing any of these, I actually think that the plan is simple. So here's how it goes. We're the average Joe Q Gotham citizen. We have no previous criminal record. We also have no special skills, because I don't have any special skills. We don't have powers, and we're not particularly smart. We're just a person who had an idea. I've only written down one thing in this journal, and it's that our villain name is The Guy. And together, we, you and I, are going to plan, execute, and hopefully inevitably defeat the Batman. Okay, so just looking at the previous history of villains who have come closest to defeating Batman, I think the best villain plots all revolve around a coordinated plan to take down Batman, because defeating him physically, like I don't know what those Tibetan monks did to him, but we're just not beating him physically. Okay, it's hard because we're already disadvantaged, not just physically, but also the fact that there's been so many plots that Batman's rogues gallery has used against him. It's really hard to have an idea that's not just doing the Long Halloween again. But maybe that's to our advantage. We don't have any villain connections. We don't know his secret identity. We're not even goon status. So, surely having, a blank slate has to be advantageous in some way, right? Hopefully. Okay, so don't judge me, but my first thought is, what if we make it so embarrassing to be Batman that he just changes his identity, which I think counts as a form of defeat. He's at least admitting he can't be Batman anymore, so there's no Batman left to defeat. What if we get a perfect one-to-one copy of the Batsuit? Then I just go around, pissing in public, and maybe on people. I come out as a Republican. Though, even just doing that is going to be difficult, because, one, we don't look like Batman. But problem number two, I feel like this is just doing a dumber version of that one plot line from The Dark Knight. I'll be giving a speech, and Batman will swing in, and instead of being like, I'm not wearing hockey pads, he's gonna be like, yo, that's a really good Batsuit recreation, but there's no Batman underneath, and then punch me, embarrassing me in front of the entire crowd I've gathered. But this is so much more difficult than the Death Note ones, because, how do you think of something that no one's ever thought about before? Which I guess is the problem of art, but maybe that's exactly it, because all these plot lines are written by people. The average people, if anything, which means we don't need to outsmart Batman, we just need to outsmart comic book writers, which is, if anything, easy. Okay, so here's the plan. Bear with me. I'm about to start writing it down. I'm just going to pitch it to you. I think it's a really good idea. What if we begin by making the very obvious observation that Batman keeps getting older while his Robins stay young? Okay, so I was going to delete that because that's an insane thing to say out loud, but it actually gives me an idea that I hopefully won't cut from the final video. We're at least going to go down this plotline and see what happens. That's a horrifying sentence. And here's what we're going to do with it. We're going to buy Twitter verification. My thought is, the average person at least has an amount of savings. We're going to spend it all not just on Twitter verification, but also on bots in order to start a smear campaign about how Batman's wards keep getting younger and younger. Why it's weird that Batman can't bring Robin into a club. We keep posting like that, and then it becomes a topic of like everyday debate. Like your coworkers are talking about it. Maybe Fox News is making articles about how we should lower the age of wards, and it's just bad PR overall. Bruce Wayne is definitely like a Stephen Colbert Democrat, and this works really well to our advantage because when he's watching The Late Show to unwind, he'll get hit with all of Stephen's vaguely lukewarm criticisms of Batman Wardgate, they'll call it, and he realizes he needs to change his image. And that's when we, Joe Gotham, come into the picture by setting up a situation that Batman can't resist. Now, this is going to be the biggest stretch in logic, so Men of Gotham, bear with me, because I know it's a bit unrealistic, but I think it's okay if the average person has a friend. I know that sounds crazy, because what person these days has outside friends, but if you can bear with me through this, that is the craziest part of this entire plan. I think everything else is grounded and works. Maybe. I may be cutting all this. Okay, so we convince this friend to dress up as a new villain called Man of Gotham or something. We start posting about Man of Gotham's support for Batman's young wards. The manosphere gets involved. Then the average person, the average Gothamite, starts to think Batman's aligned with Man of Gotham and the manosphere, which makes Batman want to find a way to distance himself from Man of Gotham and what he perceives to be people thinking they're connected, but really they're just a bunch of bots and like maybe like 30% like organic people being like, I'm curious about Wardgate. Maybe we can even get like Elon Musk to retweet Man of Gotham's posts or something. Now this may sound like we're just doing the dumbest PR campaign, but it all leads to one night in Crime Alley. We have a situation where Man of Gotham is menacing us, and then Batman swings in, defeats Man of Gotham in one punch, and like rescues us and pulls us off the ground. And then we say to Batman that we're so grateful he rescued us because, well, we don't have any family. We also don't have a place to stay. Or a job. We're also quite incorrigible. But not only all that, most importantly, we're 24 years old. Maybe even like my driver's license slips out and Batman picks it up and is like, oh, this yours, citizen? And all this gives Batman an idea of how to solve his PR issue. Because at first, he tried to say that Nightwing is in his 20s, but no one accepted that, because that's just a former Robin. He became a Robin when he was like 7. So then if Batman were to take on a ward who's already in her 20s, then this should all blow over. And we're vaguely Hispanic. So the racism rumor that will also start will blow over. It's like a twofer. So even though we have no visible injuries, he takes us to Wayne Manor to recover. We wake up to Alfred giving us cookies with milk. I don't know what Alfred gives people. And we're like, where's Batman? And Alfred responds, oh, he's working. But it is best if you just remain in this room until you're recovered. He leaves, and then we hear the distant sounds of Stephen Colbert playing somewhere in the background. We get out of bed and we try to follow it, and it leads us to an old grandfather clock. And then we're like, how's there sound coming from behind this wall? And Batman set this all up for us, so it's hard for even us to fuck up. Like, he really wants us to become his ward, so maybe, like, there's, like, a sticky note on the clock that says, like, definitely don't move the hands on this clock to 9:11 p.m. in order to trigger the secret door or something. But because we're so incorrigible, we do turn the hands of the clock, and like we see fireman poles or like tubes or something. We shoot down the tubes into the Bat Cave, and we see Batman at like the Bat computer doom scrolling. He turns to see us, pretends to be mad, then is like, well, since you saw this, I guess I'll have to train you, Robin. and, I don't really know where we go from here. This was not a plan to become Robin. I just didn't think we'd get this far, honestly. Like, surely we've put ourselves into a corner, because Batman, the most suspicious person on Earth, is the most suspicious of those closest to him. So, it's gonna be way harder to kill him. Maybe we give his, like, information to, like, the jonkler? Or, like, post it on Reddit? No, that's stupid. Both because he's, like, definitely tracking us, but also because, like, there's no way in, like, a week of, maybe even less, of knowing us, he's letting us know any of the sensitive information. But it's mostly dumb because that's the jonkler or a Redditor defeating Batman. That's not us defeating Batman. Oh, I also feel like we're gonna have to kill him pretty fast, because, like, there's no way we're going to get good at being Robin in any amount of time before Batman becomes impatient with us. Like, we're basically DEI Robin. We're probably even worse at fighting crime than, like, Bat-Cow. So, like, honestly, I give it like a week before we get kicked out of the Bat family. In my head, it should be as easy as just, like, getting a gun and shooting the part of Batman's cowl that isn't cowl. But I don't think he'd let us bring a gun into Wayne Manor. And also, like, he's definitely faster than us. Wait, I got it. Once again, we just need to find a way for Batman to sacrifice himself for us. Use a bit of that Jason Todd trauma. Now, how do we do that? I feel like this is like Blue's Clues. Like, can you think of a way for Batman to sacrifice himself for us? Let me think again. Okay, so Batman wants us to be seen by the press, obviously, because we're only a ward for the sake of PR. So that means that before we're inevitably kicked out of the Bat Fam, we're guaranteed at least one night of patrol. We gotta use this one opportunity well, and I know exactly how. So Batman will probably choose a chill night, something with like a low chance of us getting injured due to incompetence. At this point in our training, we're probably knowledgeable of how to use a grappling hook. We can probably throw a batarang, not that batarang, with some accuracy, and our legs are probably toned as hell. So we can run for more than 60 seconds, which is in itself longer than I can run, because Batman thinks that this will just be an easy night of patrol, a night for everyone to see his new of-age ward, and finally end this PR scandal. But little does he know that he may be the world's greatest detective, but we're some guy. And we actually have a plan this time. Not written down, but it's in this cabeza. See? Vaguely Hispanic. So it goes like this. We grapple into, like, Black Mask's club, or maybe like the Iceberg Lounge. It's a very public place, lots of eyes, and it's also somewhere that Batman could never bring Robin. Batman thinks we're just here to do some simple arresting, nothing fancy, but then the villains attack. Batman starts fighting, tells us to hide, we grapple away, and while he's fighting, we're looking for one very specific thing. Literally any weapon. We find a gun probably in like an unguarded room or something, we grab it, and then we grapple somewhere to watch Batman fight. We're waiting for the one thing that happens in all those Arkham Asylum games. What we're waiting for is when the big goon pushes Batman through a wall. And when that happens, we swing in with a surprise like tackle attack. We may be unskilled and weak, but I think the sheer momentum of our grappling dash thingy probably knocks the goon into a wall, knocking him out. And then we see a very iconic image, Batman lying in the rubble, tired from defeating like 30 guys. We walk over, extend our hand to help in the same way he reached out to us when we were fighting Manosphere or whatever his name was, and we smile. And to our surprise, Batman actually smiles back, charmed and amazed that we somehow helped. He begins to say, "You know, Joe Gotham, maybe you aren't just a DEI Robin," but he's cut off by the cocking of a gun. Not ours, because instead behind us is like, I don't know, Black Mask or one of the guys. He's holding a gun to us, and he starts monologuing about what the media is going to say when the new age-appropriate Robin is found dead after one patrol. And just as he pulls the trigger, Batman tackles us out of the way, taking the bullet into his armor. We throw a batarang vaguely in Black Mask's direction, and it hopefully hits him. And if it does, it probably distracts him for at least long enough for this next bit. Because while he's distracted, we begin the final part of the plan. We needed Batman to be just a little bit more injured before this could work. We walk over to Batman. He's coughing, bleeding. He thinks we're going to say something like, "Let's get you out of here, Bruce." But instead, we pull out our gun and hold it to his chin. He's using his Tibetan breathing exercises. He thinks we're going to monologue and give him time to react. But instead, we just shoot him. Which means that finally, after all this planning, we bask in the glow of victory. For exactly 1 second before Black Mask shoots us in the back of the head. A victory nonetheless, though. And I guess that's why Batman only takes on impressionable youths as his ward. In the aftermath, everyone is probably definitely confused about what the hell happened and why, we had no motive to them. We didn't do this for monetary reasons. I also, just personally, feel weirdly guilty about killing a fictional character in a scenario that I wrote. But none of that matters. Because we defeated the Batman. In maybe the only way that the average person can. Up top. Honestly, that went way better with far less twists and turns than any time we've tried to defeat, L or whatever. But if you know any better ways, or how you think my plan would have realistically gone, let me know in the comments below. I would love to see smarter people than me have a take on this. Oh, and if you want to see if the average person can, defeat or best, any other fictional character, let me know. I'm down for that. So, with all that being said, stay average, men of Gotham. Bye. Is that the outro? Bye. Bye.